Thus the Abhidharmasamukha speaks of 4 nutriments comprised in 3 aggregates, 5 sense bases, and 11 sense fields. These 4 are called nutriment because they sustain the bodies and lives of beings and prevent their disruption and destruction. Nutriment in mouthfuls is used only in the realm of desire, and nutriment consisting of contact and intention is found throughout the 3 realms, but all forms of nutriment depend on the evolving consciousnesses and may or may not exist depending on whether the latter exists.
The evolving consciousnesses such as visual consciousness are intermittent and changeable and are not always and everywhere able to sustain body and life. For instance, they are interrupted in unconscious samadhi, deep sleep, fainting, and among the unconscious celestials, asamjnika-deva. Even in the state of consciousness, these evolving consciousnesses change according to the support, object, nature, realm of existence, and the spiritual stage of the individual, etc., and therefore they are not present everywhere or constantly to support life and body. Those who hold the theory that the 8th consciousness does not exist should explain what nutriment it is that the scripture speaks of in saying that all sentient beings are supported by food.
Refuting the Sarvastivadins, we say that past and future consciousness, etc., is not nutriment in the unconscious state because it is neither present nor constant. Like imaginary flowers in the sky, it has no substance or function. Even if it had substance and function, it is not present, and, like space, etc., it does not function as nutriment. Nor can it be claimed that mind, etc., of someone entering samadhi can be nutriment for sentience in the mindless state, because when one is unconscious, mind ceases to operate, and its past is not nutriment, as we have already amply demonstrated. Nor can it be said that dharmas unassociated with mind serve as nutriment in the unconscious samadhi, because they are not included in the list of the 4 nutriments, such as ordinary food, and because these dharmas have no real existence.
There is a theory of the Sthaviras that in the samadhi of cessation, the 6th consciousness still exists and serves as food for these beings, but that theory is untenable and will be refuted at length later. We need an explanation as to what the nutriment is for someone with a pure mind in the realm of form or the formless realm, because pure mind crushes and destroys existence, and therefore it cannot serve as food for that body and life. Nor can it be claimed that impure seeds in the pure consciousness serve as nutriment, because, like nirvana, a pure consciousness cannot hold impure seeds. Nor can it be held that the bodies and lives of sentient beings in the 2 upper realms sustain each other as nutriment, because body and life are not included in the list of the 4 nutriments. Also, no body exists in the formless realm, life has no support, and homogeneous existence, nikaya-sabhagata, etc., are lacking in real substance.
Consequently, we know that apart from the evolving consciousnesses, there is a consciousness as retribution that is homogeneous, constant, and omnipresent and that serves to sustain body and life and prevent their termination. Therefore the world-honored one said, all sentient beings live by means of nutriment. Even though sentience is established on the basis of the existence of the aggregates that are grasped, Upadanaskandao, the Buddha is lacking in impurity, and hence the grasping aggregates, and therefore is not considered to be a sentient being. When it is said that he is a sentient being and exists by means of nutriment, you should understand that this is said concerning the Buddha's magical display of being sentient and requiring nutriment. Inasmuch as consciousness as retribution has a special nature as nutriment, the consciousness, characterized as nutriment, is the 8th consciousness.
36. Samadhi of cessation. A scripture says that the activities of body, speech, and mind of someone in the samadhi of cessation, nirodha, samapti, are all extinguished, yet life does not end, heat does not leave the body, the sense organs do not deteriorate, and consciousness does not leave the body. Apart from this, 8th consciousness, no consciousness that does not leave the body would exist in someone in this samadhi. Forms of consciousness such as visual consciousness are gross and unstable in their activities and characteristics, and when they occur in relation to the objective realm, there is fatigue and anxiety, so one becomes disgusted with them and seeks to stop them for a while, subduing them gradually to the point where they cease completely. The samadhi of cessation results from this state, therefore, in this samadhi, these forms of consciousness cease. If you do not admit the existence of a consciousness that is subtle, homogeneous, constant, and omnipresent and sustains life, heat, etc., how can the scripture speak of a consciousness that does not desert the body?
37. Refutation. If you, Sarvastivadins, claim that consciousness returns later, after samadhi, like a fever that returns after a day of absence, and that it does not leave the body, then you must not claim that mental activity ceases, because consciousness appears and disappears with such things as thought. Life, heat, and sense organs would be like consciousness, in leaving and reappearing, and that would be a great error. Therefore you must admit that consciousness, like life, heat, etc., really does not leave the body. Also, if consciousness is completely absent in this state, the body would resemble roof tiles or stones, not a sentient being, so how could you say that someone in samadhi was sentient?
Also, if consciousness as retribution does not exist in this state of samadhi, what sustains the sense organs, life, and heat? Without something to sustain them, they would deteriorate and perish. One would be like a corpse, lifeless, without heat, etc. In that case, consciousness could not return. When a scripture says that consciousness does not leave the body, to what is it referring? When consciousness as retribution has left the body, it will not be born again except in other bodies.
In reply to a Sautrantika theory that holds that form holds the seeds, we say, if there is no consciousness to hold seeds during this state, how can a post-samadhi consciousness without seeds appear? We have already fully shown that past and future, and dharmas unassociated with mind, do not have real substances. Dharmas such as form do not exist apart from consciousness, and we have refuted the notion that they take perfuming and hold seeds. However, mindless states such as the samadhi of cessation, like samadhi in which consciousness exists, have consciousness provided with sense organs, life, and heat, because those in these states are considered to be sentient beings. From this reasoning we conclude that someone in the samadhi of cessation has a consciousness that does not really leave the body. Other Sautrantikas have a theory that the sixth consciousness, manovijnana, exists in this state, and that is why the scripture